And welcome into episode 63 of the Avetts and Beyond. My name's Todd Emanuele. Very special guest joining me this week. Kind of a last minute thing that I reached out and she was like, well, yeah, I'll come on because I've got stuff I want to talk about. Not your first appearance on the show either. You did
Right.
pinch hit for me when I was sick. You came in and hosted with Jen Spiegel and Tim Mossberger. Michelle Castaneda Little is here. And Michelle, thank you so much for coming on with me.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
You have your own episode this time. You could talk about whatever you want.
I like that.
Last time you had to deal with you and Jen were going at it, talking about all kinds of stuff, and Tim kind of interspersed some things every now and again. But that was a fun episode. I thank you so much for doing that when I
You're
couldn't
very welcome.
talk.
Yeah, it was nice because yes, you're right. I mean, as nervous as Jen and I were before it actually started, we somehow found a groove right away, and
Yeah,
then it really ended up just feeling like we were just having a conversation. And I think
that's all
for
it
me
is.
anyway, yeah, I kind of forgot that we were actually being recorded for something, so that
And
was nice.
it's on my Facebook page. Episode I can't remember what episode it is off the top of my head, but it's there archived, and anyone can listen to it anytime. How about that?
I love it. I
And
love
so will
it.
this. So will this. So you are an admin on the Rejects in the Attic page on Facebook. You're an Avett Brothers fanatic, but a music lover in general. You're also an artist, a painter, and I want to talk to you about that because I've seen your work. And do you like with your painting, do you sell your work or do you just do that like whenever you have free time or because you're really good. Like
Oh,
you're
thank
really
you
good.
so much, Todd. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So, I have sold a couple of pieces, and I did when I started drawing and painting, I had a goal in mind to have an Etsy store or some
Hmm.
kind of retail thing and sell some pieces. And I learned almost immediately that the pressure of doing that started to chip away at the the pleasure that I was getting from it.
Really?
So yeah,
Oh,
so suddenly I felt like, oh, well, if I'm just drawing or painting for myself as a way of, therapy and just, a way to entertain myself, it was fine. But the moment that I had to then be under the gun for something that was time sensitive or
right, right.
something that people would specifically ask, and you obviously you've seen my art. It's pretty simple. I have a very clear, kind of uh what's the word? Just like that's
Your
my
vision
mode.
or whatever.
Yeah, like that's just my what's the word that I'm looking for? Well, anyway, the
Wheelhouse?
point
Like your
is,
wheelhouse?
yeah, and just like this is my style, which by the way,
Yeah.
I basically copy from an artist that I absolutely adore. Her name is Mindy Lacefield, and
Okay.
she's a folk artist. And I started I took a class from her and I started doing some. So it's my niche. That's what I'm looking for.
Oh, okay.
So that specific, it's a very simple, I just draw my little girls that are kind of forlorn. Um, and then I change it up usually with what their clothes are or what they're doing in the little painting that I have. But it's pretty much the same face over and over. So
Yeah, but I
um,
love it. It's such a cool style. I absolutely love them.
thank you. I'm gonna have to send you something for sure. I remember when I first started, a guy who's also an artist, he said something like, "Oh my gosh, why do you just make nothing but sad little girls?" And I hadn't really thought about it that way. And then when he said that, I felt a little self-conscious about that. And I was sharing that with one of my friends at work, and she said, I don't think that they're necessarily sad. They
Hmm.
look pensive.
Now,
You
the,
know,
the
they're
psychologist in me wants to ask you, how was your childhood?
exactly, exactly. I mean, so I think, yeah, exactly. That's right. I feel like I kind of settled on they're forlorn, right? They're a little bit
Yeah,
forlorn. And I also, as you know, I also try sometimes to attach some kind of social message
sure.
to some of my forlorn girls. And so sometimes the social message that I'm trying to convey is based on something that's either sad or scary or bad etc. So it kind of fits with the forlorn look of my little girls. But yeah, I mean, I think I have high hopes once again that maybe when I retire, then I can
I
go
have an
full
idea.
on.
I have an
Yeah,
idea for you. Now, you
talk
know
to me.
Pete Trout, obviously.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought of showing him your work and maybe his mega, mega, mega thing? You could be a part of that. I mean, your stuff is good.
Oh, you're so sweet. My gosh, I can't even. This is typical of people who, especially someone like me that doesn't have a whole lot of natural talent for art, but
Oh,
I
okay.
think I always default to, oh, my art's not going to be good enough for that. And I
No, I
know
wouldn't say
that's
that.
something that I know that's something that all artists struggle with.
Yeah,
And I mean, I for one love, love, love Pete's art. And I mean, I always feel like I can feel what he's trying to convey. So I really, really
absolutely.
appreciate that.
Let's
Yeah.
do this. I'm gonna reach out to Pete and be like, we got to get Little involved with you with Mega, Mega, Mega,
That would,
because
that would be so awesome. And I'm hoping again, like I said, I'm hoping that in my, near to mid future when I retire, that maybe I can delve more deeply into doing it for compensation. But right now I like just having little things around. I mean, the other thing that I like a lot, it's my favorite thing to do, which is to paint and draw on recycled things. So like
okay.
the cardboard, the sticker that I made for Mexico was, I'll show it to you. Obviously, it's a podcast, the people won't
Oh,
see, but it's literally just a piece of
that
torn
is so cool.
cardboard.
But people will
And
see it when I post this on YouTube, so it's
oh
all
well, there you
yeah.
go, there you go. That's true.
Now
And
I love that. I love that piece.
thank you. That
That's on
was
a
my
piece of
this was the
cardboard. That's
Mexico.
crazy.
Well, and then this one I did for I made a sticker out of this one too. And again, it's just cardboard. Um, this one was I'll put it up close, see if I can, there we go.
Yeah.
This one was made, I made this for Tiffany, Justin's Tiffany,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
passed away from cancer.
Yeah.
So
Gee.
I made a sticker out of these ones, but that is my deal. I have these little girls that are um and it's, you can see it's just on pieces of cardboard.
That's great. I love that you have
Um,
all this stuff right there. That was like perfect.
well, I'm in my art studio right now
Okay.
because Mike is watching TV and I didn't want us to be disturbed and I didn't want him to be disturbed by us. So I said I'll just come into my studio, which I'm sure you can see right here.
Hey, look, I've got this poster right here next to me,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
right behind you.
yes, exactly. These posters right here, these were from, obviously, from the three night run
Brooklyn.
in New York, yeah, in Brooklyn, and I had to put those up. I have a lot of posters that are unfortunately still, in the poster tube in my
Yeah.
closet. I need to actually move them and give them to someone that can use them, because I have so many already hung all over our house, and I'm not sure how much more Mike Little will accept of these
This is
things.
one of my questions that I have written down. Is your husband a fan of the Avett Brothers, or does he think you're crazy? I
Both
think he's
yes
probably
and
used to
yes.
it by now with the Avett thing. So
Yes. Yeah. So it's funny. I he does like the Avett Brothers.
okay,
Yes,
that's
he
good.
does.
That's good.
Yeah, I would even offer that he likes them a lot. Um, but especially in the beginning, so I would say like from 2011 through maybe 2015 or so, I played only the Avett Brothers for just again and again and again. And so
Yeah.
he does love the Avett Brothers, but I oversaturated our home and his ears with it. And funny story about that. I This has been maybe 4 or 5 years ago now. Um, we were well, Jim was playing at my house. We did a show at my house, and at one point when we were setting up the chairs and everything, I think it was one of my cousins said something about, oh, but Mike, doesn't like the Avett Brothers or something like that.
Yeah.
And Mike said, I do like the Avett Brothers, but she played them all the time. And he said, I just couldn't take it anymore. And that she, I can't listen to it all the time. And Susie said, Michael, because she calls him Michael, Michael, they're my own kids, and I can't listen to it all the time either.
Well, you gotta mix it up.
So,
That's
yes, exactly. So, I mean, the truth is, he really he does like the Avett Brothers, but now it's a little different because now we, um, like, there's a lot of bands, as you know very well. There's a lot of bands that we now follow that are Avett adjacent, as we
sure.
like to
Oh yeah.
say. And one of those bands is Camp,
Okay.
right? And he he loves Camp. He absolutely adores Camp. If it's his turn to put music on, he's either going to put on Green Day, which is his favorite
Love
band.
Green Day. Love them.
Same here, me too, a
Dookie,
big
I
time.
played that album, that CD so much I had to buy a new one because I wore it out back in the
Oh,
90s.
yes. I mean, we just right, and we're from the Bay Area in
Okay.
California, born and
Yeah, yeah.
raised, and so for us, it was like, well, that's home cooking right there, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
they're
yeah.
from Oakland, so he loves Green Day. I love Green Day too, um, but he'll either put on Green Day or Camp. That's how much he loves Camp. So yeah, there's something to be said for the Avett adjacent that I think he's very open to.
That's one of my favorite things about when I started listening to the Avetts and,
Yeah.
interacting with the fan base and how amazing
Yes.
the fan base is, first of all, but all
Yeah.
the Avid adjacent music that I have learned to love that I had no idea about before. And
Oh,
it's like the best place because there's so much great music in
there
that Avid
is.
adjacent universe. And
There absolutely is. I agree with you. And I also think that the because of that caliber, I don't know how else to put it, but because those are the bands that we're attracted to because of our a love for the Avett Brothers. I mean, we get little nuggets of like really, really good music. And I feel like, dang, the difference here is just that they're not on a big record label, or they don't have a marketing staff, or they don't have the means to push their music out, so they're doing it either independently or on a very small label. And we're lucky that we get to stumble across those things, right?
yeah, I mean, it worked out for like Brandy Carlisle. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah,
And
exactly.
other people that are, we're going to discover because of the Avids that are going to take off
Yes.
too. And it's just it kills me that the Avids haven't done that. Like they're I don't want to say they haven't done that because they've had obviously major success, but like they're not a household name and they should be a household name. And I
Yeah.
can't understand how they're not after, I mean, I have listened to everything a million times, so I'm on a different level than
Sure.
other people that may, listen part of the time, but
Sure.
how have they not been
Yeah.
bigger, you know?
I I agree with you. Sometimes
I kind of
sometimes I'm
don't
like,
want them to
man,
be bigger though. I
exactly.
sorry to interrupt you. I don't want them to be bigger. I like it right where they
Exactly.
are.
Yes, that's exactly right. There's this weird, like, I wish that they could have more success. And then at the same time, I'm like, well, but like I kind of like those days where you didn't have to fight for the good seats or the tickets or the
Right.
whatever. So I agree. But I think for me personally, I think I it's more I get frustrated because yeah, I do see that these other acts and these other singers just catapult. I mean, uh, Sierra Farrell,
Yeah, she's taken off, right.
big time, man,
Yep.
big time. And I think I look at this and I go, okay, the Avett Brothers, and then Sarah Farrell, and obviously I think we can all agree that it seems that the Avett Brothers seem to be comfortable and happy where they're at.
Yeah, I think they are.
I think so. I think they, I mean, if we just think back to some of the things that we've heard them say, like I remember there was a line, Scott said something about in the documentary, May It Last. He said something about, when they were doing Nemo,
Yeah.
like that hardcore,
Yeah,
loud
sure.
stuff. He said something about like we didn't we didn't know if we should go on with this. And then he makes the comment about, it was physically starting to become difficult,
Sure. Yeah.
right? So, I mean, that's them as they were kids.
Right.
And so now just all of the physical, not that they're like a hardcore rocking rocker band anymore, but even just the physical of it all. And also the other things that are playing into it, like family. I don't know if you saw Joe's post today
I
on
I
Facebook.
I did.
Woo,
And yeah, man,
woo,
I get that though. I get that.
yeah, yeah. As
100%.
a dad, I'm sure you can relate to
I mean,
to
to a certain extent, it's not like I go on the road for weeks at a time and I'm gone. And when I mean, the baby's that little, you're gonna miss stuff.
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
gotta be hard. I couldn't
that'll be
imagine
hard.
that. I felt so bad reading that. Like, he obviously wants to go on the road and keep doing his thing because he loves it.
Yes,
But
yes,
boy, he seemed really torn with that post.
very much
He
so.
really
Yes.
didn't want to go, but he wanted to
No.
go.
Exactly. I mean, I think he said when I was reading it, I was like, oh, oh man, poor Joe. But then when he said, I think he said, I miss her
When
when
she
she's taking a nap.
nap, yeah.
Oh,
Like, oof. And that's,
yes,
of course, that's him being super emotional sitting on an airplane. He said he was on a plane when
yes,
he typed it. So I'm sure when he's in the space of, hey, we're here about to go on stage, he's fine and can like
exactly.
com what's the word?
Compartmentalize.
Compartmentalize the
Yeah,
emotional stuff more. And
yeah,
probably when he gets back to the hotel room or on the bus or whatever, it hits him again. And it's
yeah.
like, man, thank God there's FaceTime and stuff like that.
Yes,
Not the same, but
exactly.
10 years ago, you wouldn't have had that
No, 10
in any
years ago, you
connection.
would have just had to wait till you get home and
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah. So at
Yeah,
least you'd be able to see her still and interact.
yeah,
But
yeah. But
but yeah, that
I
was
think for that, like for for the family thing and just the physicality of it all, and just the demands that probably are starting to get harder and harder
touring
to
is not easy.
know.
Especially
Man,
when your kids get older and there's stuff going on at home. That's
yeah.
can't be easy.
No, it
So
cannot be easy. And especially um, you know, yeah, they're missing milestones. Well, again, going back to the movie, right? Like we know that Paul was
mm,
was sitting in for Bob when his son was born because he had missed Hallie being born, right? Is that what he
right.
says in the
Yeah, I think
documentary?
so.
So
Yep.
yeah, those are like some big ass milestones that they will likely miss. And so I felt so bad for Joe, but at the same
Yeah.
time, I think maybe they're just, maybe they're happy with where they're at. Maybe it's
But
us that need to accept that, you
right.
know?
But this year, and Dolph told me on this show, this is the year of the Avid brothers, their biggest year ever. What happens when May It Last? Not May It, yeah, no. Why did I just blank on the Broadway show name?
Oh, swept away.
Swept Away. I always say May It Last. Swept Away. When that hits Broadway, and
Mm,
what happens if that really takes off and the Avid brothers all of a sudden are, pushed into the spotlight more? What
yeah.
what do they do? Are they the same guys? I think they
Yeah.
would be, but that could be a big change. You never know.
It could be a very big change, and it's coming at a very strange time for them, right? Because
Right? Right?
they and they won't know. I mean, I suppose that they won't even really know how to react until it happens and they're in the moment of it all. Because I'm so bummed about Swept Away, by the way, because they announced so it opened in Berkeley,
Right.
and then the opening was postponed because of COVID.
Right.
And then when they finally got the show back on the books, it was literally like days, maybe like a week or two before I moved to Colorado. So
Oh,
there was
jeez.
no way that I could go. So I have not seen it yet, but to listen to all of our friends talk about it,
Yeah.
it sounds very exciting. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
hope that something good comes out of that for them.
Yep. I think it will.
Yep.
There's the reviews have been too good. Um, and it's just the trajectory it's on. I mean, it's gonna be on Broadway.
That's
That's
gonna be awesome,
yeah.
man.
I mean, Dolph kind of told me that too without telling me. I don't know if you listened to the
Yeah.
episode when he was on. He's
Yeah.
like, I can't really say anything, but yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if it ended up on Broadway. So
So
I'm thinking
awesome.
it's definitely going that way. All right, this is ridiculous. So you need more than 40 minutes to talk to you. I have so many things to talk about. Like you sent me a message after I asked you to be on the show, yesterday, and you told me that while you were driving to work, you were thinking about what music means to you, and you thought, I need to write down an essay to lay this down. So this is your chance. Do you want to expand on that thought, or have we kind of already touched on some of that stuff?
I'll tell you specifically what I was thinking about as I was on my way to work yesterday. So was this that was yesterday? Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was yesterday, yeah.
So I was driving to work and this I don't even know what the name of the song is, but it's a song by June Carter or I think the Carter family maybe.
Okay.
And I think it's got the word flower in it. We've all heard it before. I can't think of the name of it, but
You can
that
sing
song
it if
came
you'd like. I
on. Oh
mean,
no.
no, no.
Mhm. I love to sing. Now, I'm sure my mom might listen to this podcast, and I take after my mom. I love to sing, and it's not great, but I love to sing. That's my mom.
I I
Um,
I wouldn't know without hearing it, so there's only one way you could prove that. No?
Absolutely no, 100% no. You're
Okay.
gonna have to catch me in a vulnerable moment at a show or something. Maybe
Alcohol
I'll
can
do
be
it.
involved.
Exactly, exactly. But I was listening to this song, and I just started thinking about you know, June Carter Cash and Johnny Cash. And then that went into me thinking about my family. And I kind of chuckled because I'm like, I'm so lucky that I'm one of those people, that I was one of those kids where music was almost always happening in my house when I was growing up. My dad is a huge music fan. And by that I mean he loves all kinds of music. My dad was, he's alive. I'm going to say was because I'm thinking in my childhood years, but the man is alive and kicking. So I don't mean was as in he's
Good
not
to
here.
know. Good to know.
Um, when I was young, when I was a little girl, my dad would listen to everything. He would listen to, of course, the music that was popular in the 50s when he was,
Right,
a
sure.
young adult. But he also listened to old Mexican music because we're Mexican American. He would listen to old Mexican music. He would listen to. I tell this story as often as I can. When my brother's 5 years younger than me, and when he was about 5 years old, a little kid,
Hmm.
he knew almost every word to every song of the Mills Brothers.
Really,
I mean, how often are you going to see a little 5-year-old Mexican kid reciting all the words to the songs of the Mills Brothers?
not very
Um,
often.
no, and it's because my dad, he would just listen to everything,
I love that.
and that started me thinking too about, I have a lot of really precious core memories that have to do that are involved music.
Hmm.
um, I can remember, I mean, I can't tell you the name of the song. I can't tell you when this was. It's just a flash of a memory of my mom and dad dancing in the kitchen
Hmm.
to Mexican music. And I could just see, I could see my mom smiling, and they were dancing, and it was just in the kitchen on a random, weeknight. And it's one of my most precious memories. Um, Another precious memory that involves music is I had this uncle, my uncle Joe. He recently died. He died about a month ago, and he was my uncle Joe was I considered him to be kind of a badass guy. Like he was a badass mofo. I mean, he was one of these dudes who. Do you remember this when the men would get the cigarette packs of cigarettes
Well, I'm not
and
old
roll them?
enough to actually remember it, but I've seen
But
it.
you
Like
know of that,
I've
yeah.
seen Grease.
There you go. There you go. Okay. So exactly. So he would, and he'd have his cigarettes rolled up like this. And this man, he had a mop of hair. You just can't believe until the day he died, he had
Yeah,
this big, huge mop of hair. And he had this way of like brushing it off his forehead that made him look like a badass. And then
nice.
I always thought my dad, when he was, I still do, I still think my dad's a badass, but when he was young, he was like this young, like kind of beefy dude and strong and typical Hispanic machismo shit and all that. And so I thought that my uncle Joe and my dad were badasses. And one day they were at my uncle Joe's house drinking a beer, smoking some cigarettes, and listening to Folsom Prison Blues.
Nice.
And I just was like, oh my God, this is the luckiest day. This is the best day of my life because I have my dad and my uncle who are badasses listening to a badass dude
Yeah.
who was playing on a record that was very controversial at
Yeah.
the time.
God, I love
And
Johnny Cash so much.
oh,
I
me
love
too.
love him so much.
Me too. Me too. And so, I have these core memories that are based on music stuff.
That's
And
funny. I think my
so
kids are gonna think of me the same way
I
because
think
like
so.
I've always listened to everything and I always
Yeah.
have music playing and they've always listened with me. And my daughter, who's in college, uh, has such a crazy eclectic taste in music. And
Yeah.
she tells her friends it's because of me. So
Yeah.
that's cool. And my son, who's gonna graduate high school this year, his favorite artist is like Frank Sinatra. And he listens to old stuff like and all oldies 70s. He loves classic rock. He loves Led Zeppelin and stuff like that. It's like, you're welcome.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm very sure that his peers are not nearly as versed
Some of
as
his
he is.
friends are though. Like one of his
Yeah,
good friends that he's grown up with since kindergarten has listened to Pink Floyd, Grateful Dead, stuff like that his whole life.
love it.
Pearl Jam, he loves Pearl Jam. It's his group of friends is different. Like they're really cool, but they're really smart kids. Like
Huh?
he has a group of it's like 11 kids that all hang out and they've hung out for years. They're like all in the top 15 of his graduating class. Yeah, they're
Wow,
smart
wow.
kids,
Very smart
but
kids.
they're
But then
cool smart kids.
also, yes, exactly,
They're
because
not
they're
nerds,
also
you know?
exactly they're super smart, but they're getting the cultural vibe
I
too
love
from
it.
dad.
I love those.
That's so awesome.
Yep. So we have like 10 minutes left.
Okay.
This always goes by way too fast.
Yeah, it does.
New Avett album coming out. Are you excited for it? That's the dumbest question I've ever asked.
I
Of course,
am. I'm very excited for it. I love the singles that we've heard so far. Country Kid, I mean, I just love it. I think I love it. It's to me, it's like the memories that Seth is bringing us on that song is like, that's Seth, and the stuff that Scott talks about is like,
and
yep, that's him.
the video
And
is
the
perfect.
video is epic. I have told so many people about the video, and but I always when they're non-Avid people, which most of the time that they're non-Avid people,
You're
I
right.
will say, in fact, even for Mike Little, what the day that the video came out, I said, okay, listen, you got to watch the video, but before you do that, I need to show you something because you may not make the connection while the video is happening, and I don't want you to miss the video because you're thinking, what the hell is this? So I had to show him a picture of Robert Plant, right? Like
Oh,
I had to
okay.
show him and say, just keep this in mind when you're watching the video. And then we watched it, and I mean, I've watched it a lot of times, and every single time I feel like I'm like, oh, I missed that. Oh, I missed that little Easter egg. Oh,
Right.
so I mean, I love it. I love the songs, and I have high hopes for the rest of the album. I hope the album is has more upbeat, danceable tunes as well.
Did you see the article that I posted today?
No,
Read it because
okay,
it
I'm writing
sounds
that
like
down.
I put it on my Avetts and Beyond page. Uh,
Okay,
it was someone that reviewed the album and listened to it, and they said it really to them, there's some uh peppier songs, whatever, but a lot of it is like old school sounding Avets, like trio, like the three of them stuff. That's what they said. This,
okay,
this guy
well.
said. So it was kind of interesting because I'm like, ooh, wait a minute, that's not what I was expecting.
Not me neither. That is not what I was expecting. And I would like to give a gentle and loving shout out to the Reverend Stephen Powell
Yeah.
because he has been saying that he wishes it could be more, the original sounding. And I think he was getting a little bit concerned.
With the first two singles.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
he's like, I long for the stripped down stuff. I think
He
that's what he
that was the
really puts
term
in
that
like
this
the
guy
old stuff.
used, more stripped down. So
Oh, really?
I don't know, but it got me really excited. Like I don't mind like the newer sounding stuff. Like I know a lot of people love the old
Yeah,
school stuff and don't like the new the Closer Than Together. And I love that album. That's one of my
me
favorite
too.
David albums.
Same.
But
Me too.
they grow. They change as you get old. Everyone does. So,
That's exactly right.
but it
Yeah.
sounds like they are maybe taking a step backwards, back into the past with this album. So we'll see. I don't know. Maybe the guy just said that to get attention for all I know, but
Well, I hope I hope I hope that is accurate. I hope we will agree in a few weeks when it comes out.
yeah, a couple weeks, just a couple weeks.
No, I
And there's going to
cannot
be
wait.
listening parties. Did you hear that?
I did, and I'm so bummed because there's a well, I'm bummed for two reasons. Number one, there's a three reasons. There's a listening party in Denver, which under normal circumstances I would go to, and I'm heartbroken because I can see in communications that I'm part of, all of a lot of the Colorado rejects are going to make a pilgrimage to the Denver store, to a
Okay.
record store, to hear it. So I'm bummed because I'm going to be out of town on business that week,
Oh
and I'm
no.
going to be. I know I'm so bummed about it, and I'm going to be in Boston, and there's no listening party in Boston.
I'm gonna break something right now that may get you excited. I don't know that it's 100% gonna happen yet, but I am in the works right now to be able to host a Zoom listening party for the album release on the 15th. I've been talking to Dolph. I shouldn't say that out loud, but
You did already. It's okay.
between you and
Oh,
me,
that would be so awesome because what a great idea, because then
that's
you
what
would
I thought.
capture,
Yep.
yes, because then you would capture all of the folks that can't get to a show, because
So
and
don't
I
get too
almost
excited because I don't know that it's
okay,
gonna happen, but
okay.
it's definitely in the works right now. So
I
so you
hope
may not
so.
have to worry about it. So you can log on
Exactly.
from your hotel room.
Oh my God, I would absolutely love that. I noticed that there is a listening party in San Jose, California, and I almost reached out to Kristen Russell to say, "Oh man, neither one of us live there anymore, and it's going to be like, we would probably be only two of like seven people that would show up, but it would be so awesome." And yeah, neither one of us even live there anymore, so
Right, I know.
it's a moot point.
I looked at that list, I'm like, why can't we do like a Zoom thing? Because I mean, what am I doing? I'm promoting the band. It's not like it's something that I'm doing that's bad, and
Yeah.
people that are gonna tune in are gonna be fans and want to hear it. So that couldn't make it
Well,
to a
and you
thing.
know
So
what? And that's where we're at as far as um these bands. I mean, to come back to Sierra Farrell, probably part of her huge early success is that she really embraces all the social media stuff, right?
oh yeah, definitely.
And I wonder if if the Avett brothers were where she is right now in her career, but in this time frame, they would probably be doing the same things.
Yep.
And so, maybe we would see kind of a different trajectory for them if it had been, you know,
They were ahead of their time,
these
right?
days.
I
They
think
were.
I really think they would have been bigger had they started now, but I mean, what are you gonna do? They're
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's just the way it happened. But so
Yep.
disregard the last 2 minutes. I did not say that out loud. I really don't want to jinx this
Okay.
from happening, but
Yep.
so be kind of excited that it may work out.
Okay.
But I didn't say that out loud. Dang it. I
Not
knew
at all. I don't know
I
what you're talking about.
right, right. Okay.
It's the Avett brothers.
Dolph, I'm sorry if you're watching. All right, so
Hilarious.
what do we have left here? I got 4 minutes and 45 seconds. You
Yes.
pick the music for the episode. I always have my guests pick the music. Now, this is like you got a mellow playlist for most of this stuff here. It's kind of cool. I like this. Tell me the songs you picked and why you picked them.
So it was hard to actually pick.
Right. It is hard.
It's hard to pick just six, and it's like, well, where do I cut? I thought, it's so funny that you say that, because I thought about it this morning also on the way to work this morning, and I thought, why didn't I put a Langhorne song on there? I love
Yeah.
that man. So it's hard to pick six songs. So yeah, I think so. I'll just go quickly down the list because I know we're running out of time.
Yep.
Annie's song. I mean,
Love
look,
that song.
yeah. Before I even when I was a little girl and I would sing that song, it would just bring I would just tears just streaming down. I just thought it was the most wholesome and beautiful love letter that someone could write to another person.
Mm.
My boss, about 15 or so years ago, my boss, who it must be noted, and I'm going to call him out by name. His name is Mark Allen. He was my boss when I almost when I first got to Agilent, and he actually introduced me to the Avett Brothers.
Oh,
And I would also offer that when he told me to take a listen, I listened and then I said, "Oh, I just really love those." What did the other people say? Because now I can't even think. How did they say it?
uh,
Avett,
um,
what
yeah, I
is
can't even do that anymore.
it? Avett, Avett? No,
Abbott.
Avett.
Yeah.
I said the Avett Brothers, and he very gently said, "It's the Avett Brothers." I said, "Oh, thank you very much." Um, but anyway, this guy Mark Allen, my boss, he sang Annie's song at his son's wedding,
Oh my
and
God.
that just made me even love the song even more. So it's just,
Wow.
I feel like it's like the perfect wholesome love song.
Love it. Okay.
That's how I feel about it.
John Denver,
Down
good
on the
stuff.
corner,
Yeah.
that was by CCR. So down on the corner, I had another uncle who was not my biological uncle. He was a man that lived another family that lived down the street from us, and they were a little older than my parents. So I, called him Uncle Tom. He was also a badass mofo. And I have another core memory of him and my dad in their house, and they were listening to CCR, and I could just see my Uncle Tom going down the corner, out in,
You're
drinking his beer.
singing. Watch out. You're singing.
That was it. So that's that. That's why that song means a lot to me because I just love and adore my Uncle Tom.
We got
2 minutes.
minutes.
Okay. Always and Forever by Heatwave because that's the romantic song if you were a teenager in 1979.
I was
And
3.
then, thank you for that. Paranoia in B flat major. Well, that is to me that is a song that I recognize. I can relate to so much in my adult life because I'm realizing now in the last maybe 5 or 10 years that while I used to think I was like super cool and awesome, and now I realize that no, I'm a little bit awkward and I talk too much and I'm awkward. And so paranoia and
Same.
it means a lot to me. I have it it's so much so that this tattoo, which is this is for number 4. This is
Yeah.
for title number 4. But this musical bar behind it is the key of B flat major. Just have to put
Nice.
that down.
That's
And
cool.
then of course signs, which I prefer the Jim one, but I'll listen to the Seth one. It makes me cry every time. It's kind of like if it's the beaches, I just feel like it's such a desperate like, oh my God, this man is so hurt. Um, and then Blue Monday, dude, I'm Gen X. Enough said.
Love it. New order. All right.
Yeah.
So less than a minute left. This cuts off. So if it cuts off, I
Okay.
apologize. But
Okay.
quickly, in like 10 seconds,
Yeah.
explain your love affair with Langhorne Slim.
He's a decent man. He's got a beautiful soul. He always lets his you know the word. He's
Yeah.
vulnerable
Yeah.
and he shares it with us. And he's also not afraid to share just, the bad stuff too. And
Love
I
it.
adore him. I look at his eyes and I just see a pure soul. I just love him so much.
Great. All right. Awesome. That was good. Very good. Michelle,
Thank
thank you so much. This was a blast. I wish we had
Hey,
another hour.
you. Me too. And I can't wait to see you on the road. And,
Yes.
we can have an offline discussion about it.
Yes. All right. We'll see you down the road.
All right, my love. Talk to
Bye.
you later. Bye.
Bye.